Attack on Titan Apocalypse is the third and final installment of the Attack on Titan Universus booster sets, and it releases on May 16th with pre-releases happening from May 9th through May 15th. So go ahead and contact your local game store, get signed up. You can search for a local game store on play.uvsgames.com. If you sign up for a pre-release event before the end of April, they're going to give you bonus loyalty points that you can use to cash in for some sweet, sweet promos on the reward store. But to keep the hype train going, UVS Games has asked me to reveal the latest edition of Reiner Braun. And I think it's pretty funny they asked me to reveal this character from Attack on Titan because I have played a lot of Reiner from the first booster set, Attack on Titan Battle for Humanity, so much so that I went ahead and bought myself a Chrome, and this was the character and deck that I played for the Teams event at Worlds in February. But without further ado, let's get into this latest edition, which I think takes this character in a really cool and interesting new direction. So, Reiner Braun Marley's Shield. Chaos and Order, 6 hand size, 30 health, static at the start of the end phase. If there are 4 or more card types among cards in your stage, and you have at least 1 momentum, flip 1 rival foundation, and you may transform Reiner Braun Marley's Shield. So if you have an attack, if you have a foundation, an asset, and a backup in your stage, plus your character count, so that's 4 card types, and you have a momentum, you can flip a rival foundation during the end phase, and if you choose, you may also transform Reiner Braun. That's a very, very high transformation cost. Let's see if it pays off on the Titan side. But first, let's look at the other abilities. First form, your non-attack cards get -1 difficulty. So Reiner is going to be able to just build out his entire hand if he's going second on his first turn, because he can't use the form ability if he's going first. He'll be committed. But if he's going second on his first turn, he can first form and then just play out his whole hand and probably just build everything. We can be playing like a lot of 4 difficulty foundations, 4 difficulty assets, or maybe this allows us to get by with playing some 2 checks and playing them in a safe way on turn 1. Or maybe we can just play more 3 diffs and 2 diffs. And then we get this enhance your attack. Your rival flips 1 foundation. So every time you play an attack, you can flip 1. And then when you choose to transfer, at the beginning of your end phase, if you have all 4 card types in a momentum, you can choose to selectively flip a rival foundation and transform Reiner. So in the early game, this character is going to be just building out his entire hand and getting a little bit of stage value, forcing you to flip your things. But when he transforms is when this character gets crazy. And now we have Armored Titan Finale. Titan Warrior. Your attacks get +1 damage for each card type among cards in your stage. So if you have the 4 card types, your attacks are going to get 4 damage. Rival attacks get -1 damage. Okay, those statics are fine. But listen to this response. Commit 1 card in your stage. After an attack is played, commit or flip 1 rival foundation. After any attack is played, your attack, your rival's attack, offense or defense, you get to selectively commit or flip 1 of your rival's foundations. That is going to be absolutely oppressive when Reiner flips. This is a crazy strong ability. And we're adding 4 damage to everything, and all of your attacks have -1 damage. So the first couple turns, his front side is going to help you speed build. A lot of these assets and backups, they can be pretty high difficulty, so his form is going to knock down the difficulties on those. We're going to be making our rival flip some foundations, and then when we transform, we selectively flip 1, and after every single attack, we can selectively flip 1. And if we want to, we could instead selectively commit them. So in my mind, first, you're mostly flipping things because when you flip a foundation, it's no longer there for the rest of the game unless they find some way to unflip it. Whereas if you commit a foundation, it's no longer there for only 1 turn, but now they also can't use it to pass checks. So in my mind, first, you're trying to flip your rival's foundation. And then when you can sense that you have a kill turn on the horizon, right? If it's their turn and you think, okay, if I live this turn, I'm going to be able to backswing. Then you start committing down their pieces, and then on your turn, you're stunning them on every attack you play. And notice it just says commit 1 card in your stage. It doesn't say you have to commit a foundation. So you could be committing your backups, committing your assets, This is going to allow you to play a very wide range of backups and assets because you'll always have some value from them from being able to use that response ability. I think that once he transforms, this is an S tier character. The question is going to be, can you get all the puzzle pieces in place to transform quickly? So let's talk about deck building for this character. I went ahead and built a spotlight character. I'll show some cool combos that I found, but I'll leave it up to you, the viewer, to start creating your standard decks and find other spotlight and standard combos beyond what I found. But before I show you my deck, let's just consider this character. I think a lot of people, when they pick up an Attack on Titan transforming character, one of the human Titan transformers, they can get kind of bogged down in all of the abilities here. Because if you look at the statics and just the abilities, so we got statics, we have a response, an enhance, a form. And if you consider the statics all separate, we have 6 different abilities across this character. So it can be kind of difficult to deck build. Are we going to go more for the stun? Are we going to more try and flip our rival stage? Are we going to try and just selectively flip maybe their resets so that we can hit them with a massive attack that we're adding 4 damage onto? Are we going to lean into this damage reduction? You know, we get -1 damage on everything on our flip side. And if we're going to be building backups, we need to be able to protect our backups because it's at the start of the end phase. So we have to have a backup make it until the end phase and through a combat phase. So we're going to maybe want some damage reduction to protect those. How much do we get? You know, what's our deck building ratios going to be for this when we have to play all of these different card types? This character is asking a lot of questions from you from a deck building perspective. And to me, I think the most important aspect of this character is to hit the transformation. Because after turn 3, you want to be Armored Titan Finale 99.99% of the time. After turn 3, Armored Titan Finale's power level is through the roof. Don't get me wrong, the front side of Reiner is very, very good for turn 1 and turn 2. But post turn 3, Armored Titan Finale is it every single time. So we need to speed transform. How are we going to consistently get a foundation, an asset, a backup, and a momentum into our stage so that we can hit the requirements for transformation? I think that's the #1 question being asked from you from a deck building perspective. So with that, let's check out this Spotlight deck that I went ahead and built for him. And I went 4-check Tribal for a couple of different reasons. It synergizes with them really well. Not only are we giving -1 difficulty with our first form, but now we cannot even check a 3. We're checking straight 4s. We're going to be building out our hand no matter what. But also, Armor Titan Attacks has a blitz that's going to make our rival flip a foundation, and then we can enhance with Reiner and make them flip a foundation. Female Titan is going to draw a card and ready a backup, readying that. So you respond first with the transformed Titan Reiner to make them to commit or flip something of your rivals, and then you blitz Female Titan and you ready that backup. So you basically got Reiner's Titan response for free if you play Female Titan. Knockdown Blow is going to let us play a lot of these moves. Throws are going to get us momentum, and we're adding 4 damage with our character. So these are going to be, you know, a 13 damage throw here with dismantling the wall. Colossus Titan Attacks gets us to momentum very quickly. Jaw Titan is just a solid stats, cheap Titan attack that also shifts and defends really well against characters like Ymir. So this shift attack lineup works really, really well with Reiner. And we can throw out like an Armored Titan attacks on turn 2, no issue. Because if we check a 4 on it, hey, we'll tap 4 foundations. We'll always have strong turn 1 builds. And then, since we had the first form of our human side Reiner, we don't really need our stage in order to build out our hand. So we can just go ahead and commit out our stage for this big attack on turn 2. Flip 2 of our rival foundations and just have a lot of value from there. Also, Armored Titan Attacks, when you block with it, it builds as a backup. So I put together this deck and actually played about 4 games or so the other night, and it felt awesome. I transformed by turn 3 in every single game that I played. Now, there was a game where I lost turn 2, so I didn't technically transform on that game because the human side of Reiner is pretty susceptible on early turns. It's once he transforms when he has some really solid defense, but his human side is definitely susceptible to early aggro, and that's why you have to speed this transformation as fast as possible. But I was transforming by turn 3 every game with the Spotlight deck. And one of the games was I blocked with this Armor Titan attacks, I built it in, and then I transformed on that end phase. On the assets, I'm playing 8 assets. This is 67 cards total. I'm just going 4 vertical maneuverings and 4 soups. Soup is incredible because it builds during the combat phase. Remember, you transform as Reiner at the start of the end phase, so before you build your cards in your card pool. But Soup, we can build it mid-combat phase, and we can build it on defense if we block with it. VME, look, we're going to be having these momentum from these throws, from Colossus Titan attacks, and we have some foundations that are going to get us momentum, and now VME is how we're going to get this momentum payoff, and we can just add 2 damage on an attack when we need. And these Soups, like, they don't do much, but you can commit them from Reiner's ability. So they're inherently doing something for you here. It doesn't matter that they're mostly blank. And then on the action, Surprising Strength just goes to your momentum and gives an attack EX2 or Powerful 2. So it's another momentum out. We can give one of these throws like Powerful 2 and just make it massive. Foundations wise, I'm really looking at a lot of damage reduction in here to protect my backups. I've got like Squad Mates Betrayal. What is this one? Respected, Commander, Rocky, Alliance, and then Nullifying Force. I think this is one of the most slept on foundations of the game. Flip after an attack is played, its damage cannot be modified. It's just nuts. And then we have things that are going to help us pass these 4-check attacks like City Celebrations and Annie's Gamble. Growing Unease is just a flip to draw, which doesn't sound very good on 2-diff foundation, but remember that Reiner makes this a 1-diff foundation. And then we have our ways to speed up momentum. So this Unsettling Eating Habits, we can remove and add a 1-diff into our momentum, or Titan's Pursuit. If they block one of our Titan attacks, they're going to want to be blocking our Titan attacks. They're huge. We're going to get a momentum off of it. And that's followed by Abnormal. It's just a 6-check that gives +1/+1, mainly playing it for the 1-diff 6-check that also synergizes with Unsettling Eating Habits. So that gives us 11 1-diffs to target in our discard pile to get us a momentum. So between Unsettling Eating Habits, Titan's Pursuit, and Surprising Strength, and then Colossus Titan, we're getting our momentum very, very early in the game. And so this is checking all the boxes on how we can transform, and we don't have to be playing buildable backups. We can just go with this shift attack lineup. Now, I think if you're playing in standard, you could definitely go for a lot of these buildable backups that just came out in Critical Role, Heroes of Exandria. You could play an asset like Questboard, a 0-diff asset that's really like a -1 diff in Reiner, and you can like commit it and then build in a party backup. You can be playing cool combos like Animus Shot, the secret rare from Heroes of Exandria. You could play it, shoot your own backup. It gets the 4 damage from the static from Reiner, and then you give it flash and draw a card. Just a thought, 4 high 9 flash, draw 1. Doesn't sound too bad. So there's a lot of different combos that this character can pull off, but this was my initial thought. And when I went and played it, it felt, I'm telling you, once I got to turn 3 and transformed, it felt oppressive. It was just, I have a stage, you have no stage. I'm playing these massive attacks. How are you going to block them all when you have no stage? So with that, let's talk about some additional reveals. I've got an uncommon and a common here to show you guys tonight. Armored Cross, Punch Titan. Been a while since we got Punch support. 5-diff, 5 mid 5, Ruin 1. If your rival has 8 or more foundations, Ruin 2 instead. This Reiner goes really well with Ruin because we're making our rival stage face down. So our Ruins will almost always connect. And if our rival has 8 foundations, this attack alone says blow up 1/4 of your board. You know, you go from 8 to 6. That's quite good. Uneasy Alliance. I love the art on this. I love these. We got Hanj over here. And why can't I tell who that is? Over here. I can't remember his name on the spot here. For some reason, I'm more nervous doing this reveal video than I normally am. You've probably been able to tell. But Uneasy Alliance, Spam Foundation, 3 low block. Enhance, Flip. If there are 4 or more different keywords among cards in your card pool, this attack gets +2 or -3 speed. Flipping for +2 or -3 speed is very, very good for a Spam Foundation that checks a 5. But we do have to jump through a hoop to get it. But I don't mind. I think it'll see some play. If you can reliably turn it on, it'll see play. Otherwise, it probably won't quite make it. But for a common, quite good. And I like seeing this punch support with a lot of Ruin here. So that is Reiner. A brief introduction to the character, a look at a couple of commons and uncommons that he can play, and a look at an early spotlight deck that I put together, played some games. I played some games against like some of the top meta decks right now. And I'm telling you, once I got past turn 3, even though it was a spotlight deck and I was going against standard decks, I was kind of crushing there for a little bit. It felt really, really good. So this is a character that I think he's going to be solidly A tier. Deck building, I think, is a little difficult. He's going to be a high skill floor, I think, to play. But I'm really, really excited at what all of you are going to be showing me as to how we can deck build this guy. I love when a character reveal first happens, jumping in on the various social media channels where everybody's discussing the different deck builds and combos. And then I realize, oh my gosh, it's been, maybe I spent a week on this character reveal and I never even considered this combo that some player finds within like 10 minutes of my reveal video and makes me feel silly. So make me feel silly, go out there, crush some combos, show me your deck lists. Again, Attack on Titan Apocalypse comes out on May 16th. Go ahead, call your local game stores, get your pre-orders in, sign up for pre-release. I'll see you there.